Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Crypto Analyst channel. My name is Brendan, and I hope all of you are having a great day, no matter where you are from. And we have quite the turn of events happening in cryptocurrency today, because at the time of making this video, Nasdaq is red about 1 to 1.5% on the day, and Bitcoin is actively rising in an inverse correlation to Nasdaq right now, and Bitcoin's up almost 3% on the day. Now, if you're wondering why this is significant, it's because most of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin included, has been following what the traditional markets have been doing, specifically Nasdaq. And so as Nasdaq is now red on the day and cryptocurrency is pretty green on the day, this marks a pretty standard deviation of something that we haven't seen in a long time on Bitcoin, at least not for most of this year. And so today what I want to do is break down what's happening on the Bitcoin chart, exactly where it's at right now, because we are bouncing off of support, and we have been bouncing off of this area for almost a week straight. But I also want to talk about what's happening in the news over here as well, because we have some pretty big names talking about doing some pretty crazy things in cryptocurrency. We have the ex-CEO of Google coming out and talking about Web3 and crypto and how he wants to be a part of both of those. And we also have a very large capital group, actually Skybridge Capital. You know, a lot of you guys have probably even heard of them before, talking about how they are very bullish on cryptocurrency. And this is a group that has 3.5 billion assets under management. There's also the SEC task force that has nearly doubled in size, and we're going to be talking about that guy as well. But first things first, let's talk about what's actually happening in the world of cryptocurrency over here. So as I zoom out, and I'm actually going to move this to a 3-day, not a 3-hour, a 3-day chart so that we can properly see what's happening on cryptocurrency without me blocking too much of this. So with the entire cryptocurrency market, and I've made a lot of videos on this, we've just been in this massive rising channel with a smaller rising channel inside of this. And so we can see that for the past week or so, we have been bouncing off of this area as to be expected. And now, the reason that this is to be expected is because cryptocurrency as a whole has seen a pretty significant support area in here. We've bounced off of this area not once, not twice, but this would be our third approach to this secondary support level. Now, obviously, if we were to break down out of this, we still have the larger rising channel that we could hold. And so while there is support around this $37,000 area, there's also more support around 35 to 36 as well. So even if we were to break these, or I think so long as we are to hold these, cryptocurrency is still seeing some pretty consistent higher swing lows. And you have to ask yourself if this is actually just a large squeeze for Bitcoin, because over on the weekly chart, we are seeing a lot of different things that I've talked about over in the Crypt Nation group. I've talked about this in the newsletter. I've talked about this on some of the live streams and technical analysis that I've done, where Bitcoin is actually seeing lower levels of negative momentum on the weekly RSI and on the weekly MACD. So as we see the RSI right here, we are seeing higher swing low after higher swing low, and I'm going to zoom out, after another higher swing low, and guess where we are approaching back down to right now? It's this higher swing low level that Bitcoin has held since 2018, 2019, which is really where this started. And so what this is a depiction of is that really since the great bear market has ended in 2018, Bitcoin has been seeing lower levels of negative momentum upon every attempt to the downside, even this extended downside that we're seeing right now. And so is this a sign that a lot of the bearish volume and the selling pressure is drying up? And the answer could very well be yes. Now, my big hesitation has been how correlated BTC has been to something like Nasdaq. But if we want to throw the Nasdaq chart up over here, and also the DXY, you know, I totally forgot about this, but the DXY, I mean, this could be the rejection that we've been waiting for. And I've made a previous video on this, but as the DXY reaches this historic rejection level, and again, this thing is strongly inversely correlated to Bitcoin. If this sees a rejection like it did at 2017, 2020, and now in 2022, this could be signaling that the top could be in for the DXY and that the bottom could be in for Bitcoin. But if we also want to look at what's happening over here in Nasdaq to show this inverse correlation, Nasdaq, and we don't want to look at this on a weekly, but Nasdaq, again, we are red on the day for Nasdaq. And so as Nasdaq is seeing support down here, the diversion or the inverse correlation that's happening today is that Nasdaq is pretty red while Bitcoin is in the opposite. It's actually pretty green on the day. So this is quite the turn of events that we are not used to. And I think ultimately this is a good sign for Bitcoin and all of crypto, in that Bitcoin is going to be green for the most part when Nasdaq's green, but on days like today, it can even be green when Nasdaq's red. So I see this as a win-win, that if Nasdaq's going to turn green, Bitcoin's going to turn green. And even if Nasdaq's turning red, Bitcoin is still turning very, very green. And so I like to see that on Bitcoin's correlation as well. But I am going to switch this back again. I've talked about a lot of this in the Crypt Nation group. And so if you are in there, you're going to get early access to all of this and direct contact access to me as well. So if you want to join that, there is a link to that in the description down below. But also looking just at this chart, we can also see that as we approach the support level, if we're looking for any kind of immediate resistance, I would see there are micro resistance levels in between support and resistance up here, but if we're going to touch the upper echelons of this resistance level, it could potentially lead Bitcoin back to a $50,000 Bitcoin, which I'm sure most of us wouldn't be too upset about. But I want to go ahead and switch us over here and talk about what's happening in the great world of cryptocurrency and all of the great news that we have been seeing over here. But to start things off, we have the ex-CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, actually betting big on Web3 and cryptocurrency. Schmidt stated that he has invested a little bit of money in cryptocurrencies, but he hasn't specified which ones. He's also said that the most intriguing aspect of blockchain, while he does like crypto, he thinks it's more intriguing, or that the Web3 space is actually more intriguing than the space of cryptocurrencies. So it seems like he really likes the technology behind cryptos, and he's still getting to understand cryptos. He's bullish on cryptos. He owns cryptos, but he's really liking the application of the blockchain tech behind them and how that could impact Web3 and the infrastructure that is setting the precedent for. So this is coming from a guy who led one of the largest tech companies in the world. One could argue that this is like the largest tech company, but they are one of the largest nonetheless. And this is coming from him and saying that Web3 is very interesting. He doesn't work for Google anymore, but if he, as one of the leaders in the space or one of the prior leaders in the space, is saying that this is going to be something that's big, this is something that he wants to invest in, again, I think it's a foreshadowing that if big names who really know what they're doing are saying this could be it, then there's a good sign that this could have a very strong future. Additionally, we have Skybridge Capital, a group that has $3.5 billion in assets under management, saying that they are quote-unquote extremely bullish on crypto. And what happened over here is that we actually saw two of their executives, the founder Anthony and the director John, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce their last names because I know I would mispronounce it, but they were talking about their bullish outlook on cryptocurrency and how they think that their group is also going to be bullish on crypto. And again, they just see the true upside potential that it has. A couple of quotes that they have is that, quote unquote, we feel so strongly about this opportunity that we have adopted and repositioned the firm to eventually be a leading cryptocurrency asset manager and advisor. So obviously we are extremely bullish on this sector. And again, these are people who have billions and billions of dollars. So if anyone is to know about money, this isn't a sign that because they have a lot of money, they know a lot about money, but someone who's managing billions of dollars saying that this is an extremely bullish space, again, they probably have some sort of an indicator that just the average person like me or you might not have. So if smart money is moving in this direction, one company, one group at a time, and again, I think it's a precursor that big things are happening behind the scenes. So you got to make sure that you're staying aware of about what's happening over there. In mediocre news, the SEC is nearly doubling the crypto unit staff to crack down on abuses in the booming market. So what they want to do is they want to get rid of as many of the scams and illegal activity that is happening, or as much of that as possible. I would say illegal activity isn't running as rampant right now. I think what they want to do is just make sure that everyone is staying safe. You know, again, there are these occasional hacks. There are some NFT scams and stuff like that that are happening. But you're having that in any kind of a market. I mean, in any aspect of business, you're going to have scams. And so I think cryptocurrency gets a bad rep that it's drastically worse in crypto, but it's just a little bit less regulated. And so that line has yet to be painted as far as it is painted in other industries. So what's happening over here is that the headcount is getting increased by a total of 20 to a new total of 50. So with these 20 new members, they're going to be investigating all different kinds of fraud and different cryptocurrency scandals that are happening around the world. In other news, we have the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, saying that he is predicting that there will be 1 billion cryptocurrency users in the next decade. So in the next 10 years, he thinks that the number of cryptocurrency users will reach, if not pass, 1 billion people, which will be about, what is that, a seventh or an eighth of the entire population. And if that's going to happen, that would drastically impact the price of most of the cryptocurrencies that we know and love. I would imagine that this would push Bitcoin over 100,000 easily, probably Ethereum over $10,000. And so there is a lot of potential happening over here. And if this is to come and play out truly, as they have forecasted over at Coinbase, this would be a big deal, right? I mean, a billion people in the world of cryptocurrency, quite the thing. Now, another cool note on Coinbase's front is that they have a $2.5 million wait list actively happening for their NFT platform that they're trying to launch, this NFT marketplace. 2.5 million people waitlist is pretty large. So I think that what this does is this really tells wonders of how big and upcoming this NFT industry is. It is slowly becoming its own massive multi-billion-dollar entity, right? I mean, you now have Yuga Labs, which is the owner of CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and the other side metaverse that they're building. And I believe they're now valued at the first over $1 billion NFT-based company, which is just wild to think about. And finally, in less important news, but still something that's really cool, the Greenwich, I might mispronounce that, Greenwick estate owner will now accept Bitcoin or Ethereum as cryptocurrency payment for the $6.5 billion property. Now, this has been a growing trend where people are very willing to accept cryptocurrency for their properties and for their real estate. This has been an increasingly popular push, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if we start seeing the rise of real estate-based cryptocurrencies or blockchain tech become more prominent in the next couple of years here. So this is actually a space that I'm actively looking into, and there's a couple of them already out there. And so I'm interested to see how these interact with price. Do they rise? Do they fall? Does this catch on, or is it too early? But I'm definitely interested about this side of blockchain and how that's going to impact the real estate case more so than just payments. But that is going to sum up today's video. Again, there's so much happening in the world of cryptocurrency. With Bitcoin on the rise, Nasdaq on the fall, it just creates this crazy turn of events. So I hope everyone has buckled up their seatbelts. I have a feeling it's going to be a relatively crazy month for crypto across the board, as well as for the stock market. So we get a lot more videos to come. If you like this video, consider hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like, and dropping a comment as well, and maybe even sharing this video with someone that needs to hear this as well. Maybe it's your friend who doesn't know a lot about crypto, or maybe they're bearish and don't think anything is happening behind the scenes. This might be a video to share with them so that they can understand just about really everything that's happening in the world of cryptocurrency. But once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.